Can you be a good manager if you have ADHD? I get this question asked a lot, and believe me, I ask this question myself lots of times. And the truth is, not only you can be a good manager, but if you have the right system in place, you can also be a stronger leader. So, in this video, I'm gonna show what is my 7 items toolkit that I use to lead multiple teams. If you are a manager, a team lead, a tech lead, and you're moving from software engineering to leadership, this is going to help you stay sane and stay effective without burning out. Stick around until the end, and I'm gonna share what is also the single most important weekly habit that is helping me keep everything on track. So, item number 1 is daily structure. There's nothing more important than understanding what is gonna happen to you during your day. So what I do, I try to create the structure of the day before the chaos begins. ADHD brains don't work with ambiguity, they need clarity. I start a 10-15 minutes plan before I even open the email, and I pick my 3 big priorities, and these are the things that must be done, and everything else I will consider as a bonus. The tool I use for this time blocking is essentially my calendar. I use the calendar not just for meetings, I use the calendar as my to-do list. It is one single place where I know where I am, what is gonna happen next, and in this way my day has a shape and I don't react to what is happening because I know exactly what is gonna happen. So this is the item number 1. The item number 2 is delegation, and you need to create a delegation framework. Managers with ADHD may have the tendency to micromanage, they want to know everything, or they may not delegate enough. It's very hard to do, but what I realized is that there are a few tricks you can put in place. One is defining the outcome of what you want, and that is exactly the what, not the how. Try to stay away from the how and delegate that to your team. Trust your team to make the right call, and if they don't, it's a learning experience, it's a learning opportunity. So make sure you clearly communicate the outcome, and then instead of constantly asking questions and trying to gain control of the situation, use checkpoints. So every week or every day, depends on the task, create a checkpoint where you can see what was the progress made and if you need to adjust anything or introduce changes. And the other thing that is important with the delegation is document what you want instead of being just verbal, because you are also be the one that will forget. Put everything in writing, create documentation page about the outcome that you expect, and at that point you can use that page as a note-taking for the checkpoints. Item number 3 is decision-making guardrails. Why this is important? Because we tend to be impulsive, and impulsivity sometimes may not lead to the best solution, to the best ideas, and to the best outcome. What I do, I use a 2-tier filter. If it's an important decision that is very likely irreversible, I allow myself 24 hours to think on it. More than think on it is sleep on it, because the day after I will wake up with clarity, or at least a strong belief on that decision. And if it's a small idea otherwise, what I do, I try to empower the team to proceed and with the decision. These simple filters is avoiding firefighting later on. So most of the time, if it's an important decision, must not be taken on the spot. Take your time to take that decision. For me, 24 hours is plenty of time to get clarity, and the most important part is that I sleep on it, so the day after you will come with way more clarity. Item number 4 is meetings. So as a manager, you will end up doing lots of meetings. I have some days that are literally back to back, and not having enough time between meetings is not making you a better manager. It will drive you crazy because you will end up without energies, and most of the time you also will end up without understanding what is happening in that meeting because you're still in the previous meeting mode. My suggestion for this is to keep meetings slightly shorter. So having a 25 or 50 minutes meeting instead of a 30 and 60 minute meeting will allow you to have enough time to plan your agenda and give us a mental structure to what you want to achieve in that meeting. If you don't do that, it's a little bit like your day. You will jump in and the conversation won't flow, or even worse, you may just phase out and think about the previous meeting or something else that needs to happen later. So that's why it's important you do that. And the other thing, sometimes your brain may not be in the right state. And this is not just for ADHD people, this is for everybody. It's not natural to stay and be present for 8 hours straight. If you are in that situation, do a favor to yourself and to your colleagues. Cancel the meeting, postpone the meeting, and in some cases that is the best decision, because a meeting that is where you are not present, it's a waste of time for everybody. So instead of wasting that time, recover the energies, try to do something else. The other thing is not just the time, is also having that structure that I mentioned at the beginning, is creating an agenda and making sure at the end there are actions and donors. What I tend to do during the meeting, I try to include that in my to-do list. So if the plan is to have an action after that, that can be another meeting or an actual task, I block that in my calendar. So that will immediately pop up back. I use pen and paper during the meeting to just fix some concepts, but I need to put that back in my calendar or do the action. If it's possible, I'll do the action immediately. So for example, if it's introducing people to each other, it's better that you do on the spot. It's going to be easier, otherwise you lose the context and you may completely forget to do that task. This leads naturally to the item number 5, which is task capture. I must capture everything. So ideas and to-dos will vanish in no time for ADHD people. What I do is I have pen and paper next to me, and I also have my calendar always open. And whenever I cannot add that to the calendar, I'll put down on pen and paper, I capture everything, and then at the end of the meeting, in those 5 minutes, I complete my tasks by adding to the calendar or making sure my notes make sense, and then I put them back into the calendar. Sometimes you can see my calendar with time blocked, and inside the description I have the notes of the meeting, because I know that I will always look at that. My notebooks are useless because they have just random thoughts that are not organized. Only the calendar will end up having the thoughts organized in it. And my handwritten notes also have a very limited life. At the end of the day, I must look at them and make sense of them. Otherwise, you can just throw them away. They're just a bunch of words that don't make sense after 24 hours. So that's why it's important that you do that activity as well. Now, item number 6 is energy and focus. ADHD isn't about attention. ADHD is about regulation, and what you need to do, you need to regulate and balance different activities. You need to make sure you have a clear understanding of your energy levels during the day and your focus. So here is what works for me. In the morning, I do my creative work. Everything that requires creative thinking, that is the most intense activity my brain does, is happening in the morning. In the morning, I have my peak energy hours, and that's what I try to do. I try to block my time in the morning, sometimes even before the working hours, when I need to solve a problem or when I need to explore different solutions and I need 100% of my brain power. The other thing that I do is body doubling. There are some tasks that are more tedious, painful to do, or I can get easily distracted. What I try to do is do them during a meeting. So I call a meeting with some of the people that can support me, can help me, and we do the task together. While doing the task together, I can super focus, and that will give me the right boost to complete that activity without wasting time. And finally, what I do when energy dips, I have a list of quick wins activities that I can do. So there are a number of tasks that are very easy to do and sometimes time consuming and are things that you must do. And those little things, when you do them, you don't need to have focus or high level of energy. You can do them in autopilot mode, and while you're doing them, you will get that sense of accomplishment of completing something that will boost your dopamine, and in some cases I get back my energy levels, so then I can do another task. So this is quite an important trick, and this is exactly what happened now. Before recording this video, I had very low level of energies. I did a task that I know that is gonna reignite energy and is gonna give me the focus that I need to complete the task, like doing this video. So what I did, I went for a 40 minutes walk in the nature, trying to think about the script of this video, And at the end of it, the physical activity and the thinking about this task moved me in the right mindset. So now, here is the bonus. What is the single most important weekly habit that I use? Every end of the week, I dedicate 15 minutes or half an hour to a self-check. And what is a self-check? I ask myself 3 questions. 1, did I move my 3 big items forward? And where did I get derailed? And what can I do to improve next week? This tiny habit is some sort of retrospective that I do at the end of the week, and is giving me a sense of progress, and is also giving me goals for the next week, is where I crystallize the learning of that week, and I try to not make the same mistakes in the next one. So, to answer the question, yes, people with ADHD can be brilliant managers, can cover managerial position, and it's not about willpower, it's about systems. So, you need to make sure you're building strong systems that will always move you to the next step, allow you to do the next step. So, if you are a software engineer moving into management, or you have got ADHD and you want to lead effectively, subscribe, because I have more videos and I will probably go into details about each one of these items in future videos. So thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye!